Hello and welcome to Crafts for Kids. Kids of all ages, over 100, are welcome. And I'm your host, Jann. Father's Day is June 15th. It's an annual holiday honoring fathers and their very important role in society. Now, it's fun to make a little gift for Dad. So we have an amusing idea. It's an award for Dad for being the best dad ever. I'm sure he is. I'm sure your dad is. Now this, instead of fabric and ribbons, it's all made out of paper. And if it's all one color, it just takes one sheet of paper and a little scrap for the center. Now you can also put a safety pin on the back if you want, so he could pin it to his shirt. But you can also add a bobby pin. So if he wears his shirt, thank you, Chelsea, for this idea, he can just slide it onto his shirt. So it's the same technique to add either one to the back. Now you can also add stickers, whatever stickers you want, and you can write any message you want on here. Another idea is to use different colors of paper, and if you prefer to make a loop for Dad to hang it around his head, you can put two little holes at the top and then thread string or cord through. Now notice this has 3 ribbons at the bottom, so it's your choice, whatever you want to do. Now to make these, you need paper. Plain old paper, construction paper works. You can also use scraps of gift paper. Recycle, that's what I do. And it makes something like this. It's so much fun. So that's another option. And then you need a glue stick or glue, or both together, something round to trace, or you can draw your own round if you want, to make the message in the center. A pencil to draw with, draw the circle with, scissors to cut out everything, a pen, a marker, so you can write your message for Dad. And this is optional, but if you have any little clips, even paper clips, they're going to be handy when you glue these together. Not essential. Stickers can be fun. Who doesn't love stickers? And then a bobby pin or a safety pin or cord to put it all together with. And if you want, you can use a ruler, or you can do this all freehand. Your choice. So let's get started. I'm going to use blue, I think. Just move these aside. Put these all over here. So the very first step is to take your paper and hold it this way and fold it in half. Match the corners to the best of your ability, and then crease this. And this makes a nice guideline for cutting. You don't even have to draw it, it's super. Okay, the next step is to use your scissors and cut on this line the best way you can, as neatly as you can. There, you can save that. And then we're going to do something called an accordion fold. That's what this is. It's a series of pleating the paper. Don't have to measure it. Here's how you do it. You fold one section up like this. Mine, for those who like to measure, it's kind of a scant ½ inch, like 3/8 of an inch. So do the first fold and do a nice crease because it looks so good. And then fold it over and crease it again. Fold it over and then try and match the size crease that you've done. And we're going to do the whole sheet. Be sure and crease it because it looks so pretty that way. And we'll just try and make this as even as possible. Mine will not be perfect, and it doesn't have to be, but we just do the best we can because it will look really good in the end. And then keep going, keep pressing. Now you can press now and then with a pencil that helps make a nice crease. every so often and keep going. And flip it over. And keep flipping and pressing it. An accordion fold. Just a few more to go. And we only need one of these, which is good. And I think I'll have time to crease it again. You can also use something called a bone folder. Same thing. I don't know how it got its name, bone folder. Sounds kind of icky, actually. And here's the very last one. Now, if for some reason the last one doesn't match at the top, you can just trim it off, with scissors. Okay, now we hold this horizontally, put our finger in the middle, and press this up like this. And the idea is to get them to sort of match at the top. Hold it tightly and sort of give it a good squish, a good press. Now we're going to glue these together. So you can either use a glue stick or glue, the liquid glue. I will use the glue stick. And I'm pretty generous with the glue. I always put the cap back on. Keeps it from drying out. Now I'm going to press these together, sort of matching the tip. And then pressing it like this to really get it to stick together. And then when I open it, that looks pretty good, and it did stick. But just to show you, to use a paper clip, you might have one of those. I'll use two different things. I'll use a clip and a paper clip to show you. So that's a good way to hold it while it dries, because it will take a while to dry. But I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. I'm going to hold my finger under in the middle and get these to match at the top. And you can see how this rosette is forming. And I'm going to glue it just like I did the other side. Nice, generous amount of glue. Put that top back on. Now you can also pinch this and hold it. If you have patience, which I could use a bit more patience, just hold this like this. You can also hold it and let it set. But I think I'll put a couple of clips in it and sort of set this aside. Now you would let this dry, really set, before you work on the next step. The next step is to either cut a piece, a strip, from the same color, or if you want a contrast color, you can cut that. And I did it. So I'm going to use one that I've already let dry. I think I'll use this red one. And I will use another color. So this is from the same, from a piece of paper. Now what I'm going to do is put the ends together and then cut notches, because I think that looks nice, just like that. And if you cut them both together, they'll be the same, and you've done it in an instant. Now I don't want them to be too close together. So what I'm going to do is push them apart like that, and then press the top. Now I'm going to add a little bit of glue so it stays like that. This will help it, just a little bit of glue right there. Okay, so now it's going to stay like that. Now I want to glue this to the back of the rosette. Now it's really hard to tell the front from the back. In fact, there really isn't one. So just choose a side. Now, I think I'll put it in the middle of this rosette. And I think I will use liquid glue here because I'm adding something flat to a pleated surface. But you can use a glue stick. I've done both. I think liquid glue is just a teeny bit better. Okay, so I think I'm just going to put this right in the middle. Now, I should let that dry a little bit, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep on going. And I think I'm going to add another circle on top of it to give it a little bit of strength so it doesn't fall off. There. I think I'll leave this sideways here. So it can be the same color, it can be a contrast color. It doesn't matter. So this just helps keep the ribbon on. Now I would let that dry, and you should let it dry. I'm going to add a safety pin to it, to the back. And I want to show you, now, as I said, you could put the bobby pin on there, but I'm going to do the safety pin because it's a little bit more complicated. You want to make sure that it's open, because if you do it the other way, it won't open, it won't work. So this is not dry, so I'm just speeding this along. So I want a strip of paper, let's see, probably about an inch wide. I'll just cut this. And about half of that, let's see. About like that, yeah, about half of this. So the next step is to glue this. And glue really does work. Glue, this liquid glue, works really well for gluing on something like the bobby pin or this. So be careful, of course, you don't stick yourself. And I'll be careful too. So place this in the middle, open, and then slide the glued paper over it like that. Now this is the back. So we want to just press it gently, and you'll see it might stay. It'll stay for you. It stayed for me when I did this at home, but I don't know that it's really critical. So there, that is how you do the back. And then once it's dry, of course, you can close it. Now I'm going to show you how to do the front. I have traced around something to get around. I traced around this because I like the size. Put a message on it. Now you want to do this last because, as I've noticed, if you do this first, it's hard to line the little ribbons up. So the last step is to glue this on, again with a glue stick or glue. And I'm going to line this up. I just said my daddy is tops. And keep pressing it because it's hard to attach something flat. There's very little surface for this to glue on. But if you just hold it for a while, it's going to stick. So, since it's really not dry, I'm going to hold it up. But that is a ribbon, an award ribbon, because your dad is the best. Or, did I show you this? Your granddad. Maybe it can be for grandpop, especially if he has a pet name, or your uncle, or a father figure, whomever you like. And you can also make this for a whole different holiday. It can be a birthday gift, happy birthday, or a prize for one of your friends that wins a race, or aces a test. It's an award. So you can make them for your dad or anyone you like. So thank you for joining us. I hope you have great fun making your award ribbon for your dad or whomever you want. Bye-bye. Hello and welcome to Crafts for Kids, calling all kids. I'm your host, Jann. July 4th is also known as Independence Day, and we honor that day because that's when our founding fathers so courageously signed the Declaration of Independence in July 4th, 1776. Now that document declared that the 13 American colonies that had formed were independent from British rule. Goodbye, King George. We didn't have to pay them taxes. We didn't have to have that connection with them. The 13 American colonies became states, and that was the beginning of the United States of America. The 14th state was Vermont, so pretty good news there. Now on that day, we celebrate with fireworks and picnics and parades and waving flags. But I thought, let's wave a pinwheel. Let's make a pinwheel. They're fun to make, and I'll show you how to do it. Let's see if I can get this to spin. Fun, great fun. Okay, I'll show you how to do it. First of all, you need a piece of paper. It can be construction paper. That works really well. And paper is actually better than cardstock. It works a little bit more easily. You need some kind of glue stick, liquid glue, scissors. You need something to trace around for the middle piece, like a quarter. That works really well. You need something to stick everything together, a thumbtack, a push pin, anything else you can think of. You might want a marker. I did use it here to decorate. Something that would work on color, or on white paper you can use all sorts of things. Colored pencils, crayons, paint, maybe, you name it. You need something to stick it to. Now I'm really happy with a cheap chopstick left over from our Chinese takeout. You can also use the end of a pencil, of a new pencil. We can stick it right here in the eraser. That also works. Now you can also grab a stick, just one lying on the ground, and you can trim it off, paint it if you want. That makes a nice, because it's usually pretty easy to stick a thumbtack into it. Now this is balsa wood. Balsa wood is cheap and easy. It's very lightweight, very easy to put a push pin in it, or a thumbtack, something like that. So those are your options. Now you can also decorate your pinwheels with rhinestones. Thank you, Chelsea, for that good idea. Or stickers, star stickers, or any kind of sticker you like. And just for fun, you might want to have a little pebble on hand. You might wonder, what would we do with that? But I'll show you. Okay, a pencil is good to trace around the quarter or whatever you like. We'll cut that out in a minute. And I think that's it. So let's get started. Let me just move this out of the way. Okay, the first step is to hold a piece of paper like you would a book. We're holding it this way. We're going to fold it in half as if you're folding a book. That's how you can remember it. So we're going to match the points at top and then press it like that. Now this is a cutting guideline, nice and sharp, so it's easy to know where to cut. And I love to make the creases nice and sharp because it gives a really good definition. So here's your line. We're going to cut that wherever my scissors are. Here we go. So just cut right along that line. Okay, we only need half of this. The next thing, this is a rectangle, so we want a square. So we're going to take one corner, fold it over on the point that's forming, like that, if you can see that, and then press this edge over like that. And this is going to make a nice diagonal line, which we need. And we're going to cut this right up here. And that way we'll have a square. Okay, we don't need this, really. Now we have a square. So we want a diagonal line going the other way, so we're going to turn it this way. And then match the top points. And then fold this like this. Okay, so now we have a square with 4 lines made with the fold lines. Now I'm going to mark the middle. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing to help show you where the middle is. So that's the middle. Now we're going to cut on these lines a little over halfway up. Starting at the point, a little over halfway. Just cut all 4 of these a little over halfway. Okay. Now we're going to use a glue stick and glue the middle. And now we'll take the first point. You can do left or right. We just want to be consistent. So I'm going to take the right point, my right, and fold the tip slightly over that dot in the middle. And we're going to hold it. And the idea is we want this glue to dry. So we put enough glue on to hold it. Now I'm going to the next one. I'm going to take the right-hand corner and fold it over what I just formed. Spin it around. We're holding it because we want that glue to stick. You can use liquid glue. It just takes longer to dry. But I would not use hot glue because that forms sort of a thick little lump to have to poke through. And fold, oh, popped open. As they do, they will pop open. Just put it right back. And slide the next one over. And I like to puff these up a little bit. And then spin it around. We're going to do the last one. We have to add a little bit more glue so it has something to stick to. Take the right point and fold it over the center and hold it. And if it starts to press, just going to poke it up like that. So that is the base of the pinwheel. You've made a pinwheel, really. Now what you can either hold that for a while if you have lots of patience, or you might, ooh, keeps popping open. As they do, they will want to pop open. You might put a little pebble there to hold it until the glue dries, which shouldn't be too long. So I'm just going to set that aside and use one that I already have glued, a different yellow. The next step is to trace around a quarter or something similar and then cut it out. Okay, now I'm going to glue this to the center. You'll see it'll help hold it down, the points down, and it also is decorative. The next step, let's put the cap back on so it doesn't dry out. I will take a chopstick right here and take a thumbtack. I think I'll take a bright blue one, actually, and just push it right in the center, like this. And I'll turn this around and show you. So poke it in the center like that. Now, it's good to work this a bit. And if you have a push pan, it's easier to do that. So I'm going to put the push pin in like this. You could also use a small nail and just wiggle it around a bit. And that's to widen this hole so it spins more easily. Okay, now you can do that with the thumbtack, but I find it a little bit easier with the push pin. Okay, now we're going to take a chopstick or a stick or anything you like, and about halfway down. If I put this thumbtack, push it in too close to the top, it'll split the wood. So I'm going to push it in about halfway down. You might wiggle it back and forth, that might help it. But there you go. And there is your pinwheel. Now you can make fun colors for a summer table. It doesn't have to be just for July 4th. It can be lots of fun. Because I thought that pink and yellow and other colors of flowers, like in a mason jar, could be very decorative and fun for summer. It just seems like a summer craft. So, happy July 4th. I hope you celebrate, and I hope you enjoy making these. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.